Welcome, everyone, far and wide, to the primary episode of the pause menu.
Maybe the last one.
Maybe the last. Not if we can help it. You can't run forever. We'll keep making episodes until you want us to, and then we'll stop. So, yes, this is your friendly neighborhood banter kid, along with our dear friend Flusher.
Yes.
We are three down-to-earth guys. I like to think so. Well, down-to-earth. Our profile pictures have a lot to be answered for. But anyway, I like to think we're normal.
We talk a lot about games. We write about games. Some of us make videos about games.
Sometimes.
Some of us has been employed by games review sites. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Oh, yeah, I did that for a while. That was fun.
But they couldn't handle the truth.
Yeah, so we started our own game review website called banterkid.com.
So go there if you want to see opinions about Doom Eternal that you might not agree with.
Oh, God, people didn't like that one at all. That was great.
But we'll get back to that later, I think.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this.
Podcast.
Yes.
So this is go ahead, Fletcher. Sorry,
I was gonna say we definitely have a few interesting opinions coming.
Oh, we do. But what are we going to be talking about in this first episode? Let's get that out of the way.
True. So we kind of envisioned this episode as like a debriefing of the year, kind of. Isn't that right? Right. So
yes.
So
we're going to have a look back at 2020. All our favorite games, all our least favorite things that happened related to games.
Yes, because, you know.
A lot of other shit happened.
a lot of shit happened. And we'll also talk about, like, maybe a few controversies that might have happened during the year. You know, maybe, like, related to critics that, you know, reviews that people didn't like, or releases that didn't go exactly as planned, stuff like that.
Yeah, there were a couple of those. And then maybe we'll even talk about the last generation as a whole.
Exactly.
PS4, Xbox One, the Switch.
Yeah, even though the Switch is not done, so we'll see. We'll see about that.
I know, but still.
Still, it's Nintendo, you know, they're on this side.
Would you like to talk about anything, Danny?
Don't mind me. I might be typing, but that's only because I'm subscribing to this as quickly as I can. But the concept of this beautiful episode will be us describing and talking about the best games that we've experienced out of 2020, the terrifyingly shit year that was 2020, and the many dark and dingy controversies that could have manifested themselves in development. So, I would like to get the ball rolling.
Cool.
With a game that I have played a lot of in 2020.
What is it?
It is the great and all-powerful... Yes!
Excuse me. I had a big dinner. What's the game?
Doom Eternal.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that?
Yes, I fucking loved it. It's like one of my favorite games of the year.
But Doom is very... Well, it's Doom. Anyone who listens to this who hasn't at least heard of Doom...
You're in the wrong...
Yeah, I mean, we can't really help you. But
I mean, this podcast is all inclusive. You know, if you never heard of Doom, it's good too. You know, you can still subscribe. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the pause menu's for. Sometimes pause menus have little factoids at the bottom that scroll across. That's us.
Exactly. Sometimes you can even rotate like 3D objects. That's pretty cool.
So you like Doom Eternal?
I mean, it's hard not to like Doom Eternal if you are big into your action games, you're big into your first-person shooters. Doom has taken the concept of guns and made it super guns. It's very difficult not to like super guns.
It is. Doom really does make you feel like very powerful right out of at the start of the game.
Yeah, and it's hard not to get invested in what is essentially an 80s action film.
The soundtrack. I don't think Doom would be any good if it didn't have. Well, not a lie. It would still be good. It wouldn't be nearly as good if it didn't have that soundtrack, though.
Well, it's
Agreed.
funny. It's funny you mentioned that
Well,
because that's a controversy. That is.
not a Oh yeah, there was a controversy.
Yeah, there is. There was a controversy over Doom's soundtrack specifically.
Are we playing a game show now?
You got it. Ding, ding, ding. Give that man a car.
So
Don't give him Doom Eternal soundtrack.
So what's this controversy about? I don't think I'm aware of that.
Right. So essentially, fans were noticing differences between the original soundtrack and the music that was sort of taken from the game. Particular examples were different types of the BFG Division songs. Now, the person who was originally on board to do the soundtrack for this was someone by the name of Mick Gordon. Mm-hmm. Now, Mick Gordon might mean something or might not mean something to a lot of people out there. Mick Gordon essentially did a lot of the work for Killer Instinct.
He also did Doom 2016.
And he did the Doom 2016, so he did the last Doom in the series. So a lot of people were confused about why there are differences in the soundtrack. It eventually turns out that Mick was working on the soundtrack, but he was only able to gather a certain number of tracks, a small handful that he only had proper work on. But
I think the thing was that didn't Bethesda give him like a very tight timeline?
Yeah,
and he kept missing his deadlines. And
because of that tight deadline, they had Bethesda and id Software, I should say, essentially had someone in the wings. They had one of their own audio directors by the name of Chad Mousholder. So it ended up being that while Mick provided a lot of the work, Chad came in and
sort of finished it all off, and leaving Mick sort of in the dust. Yeah, which is a shame because that soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah, and it's still credited to his name, right?
Yeah. Like Mick.
I think
Mick
what happened.
Go ahead.
Mick Gordon did compose the entire soundtrack for the game, but he didn't have enough time to turn the game soundtrack into like a fucking listenable soundtrack. Because like, there's not just one track for a level. I think there's like several different tracks, and they all blend in and out.
Yeah,
depending on what happens.
The music kind of adapts itself depending on how you play the game.
Exactly.
So, yeah, okay, I get that.
So I think the biggest problem was Mick Gordon is seen as a bit of a modern day legend, I suppose, in the gaming industry because of his work on the previous Doom game and Killer Instinct, which was lauded for its soundtrack. And listening to it myself, it's quite a various mix, so like anyone could like it. But the problem was that a lot of the songs were compressed to fit into the game and fit around the other in-game audio, which essentially takes a lot of Mick Gordon's work, rips it apart, and then tosses it into a game, which is not cool.
It's not the same. So the actual soundtrack, if you buy the soundtrack, it's not shit, but it's not that great. It's not Doom Eternal's music.
Which means then that Mick Gordon and id are probably never seeing each other again.
Oh,
I think he left.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, because you never interfere with an artist's music.
Although the guy they got to do the soundtrack for the DLC was really good, Andrew Hulsholt. Have either of you played Dusk?
Dusk?
I didn't, but it looks very cool.
Oh, Dusk is fantastic.
That's a game
it's really good. It's like a 90s style Doom and Quake inspired FPS with a heavy metal soundtrack. And that guy went on to do the music for the DLC, and he did a great job.
All right.
Also,
I mean, it's good for him.
Fun fact about Doom: has anyone wondered why the Doom guy is always shown with Isabelle from Animal Crossing? You know that meme?
Weren't the games released on the same day?
Exactly that. So the games were meant to be released on the same day, but I think GameStop decided to release Doom Eternal a day earlier to avoid excessive crowding, because
That's fair enough.
COVID! Isn't COVID a wondrous? No, it's not. It's terrible.
No.
Awful thing.
But it did give us a lot of time to play Doom.
Yes.
So I have a question for you. You've both played 2016 Doom 2, right?
Oh yeah.
Did you like 2016 Doom as much as you did Eternal?
Oh no, I thought Eternal was far better.
Because I was part of those people, this very limited amount of people, I would say, who didn't really like 2016 Doom all that much.
Oh,
I felt
that's
like
fair.
I felt like Eternal just does a much better job when it comes to pacing and just rhythm. But basically, it's a very musical game, so
right.
I would say like rhythm is a good wording for it.
I think the thing is in Doom Eternal, you kind of never stop moving, because if you do stop moving, you die.
Exactly, and even just in the way the game is structured, like Doom 2016, especially like the first half of the game, feels like you walk through a corridor, you get into an arena, you fight. It's fantastic. The game is great. The gameplay is cool, and then you have like 5 minutes without anything.
Yeah, you kind of just walk around and you look for collectibles and stuff.
Exactly. You have like 5 minutes without anything, and then when you're done, when you go past this area, you're met with an like unskippable cutscene that you don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
And it's like that for like half of the game, at least half of the game, and then the game kind of start speeding up and stuff.
Sort of ramps up.
Yeah, but at this
Doom
point,
Eternal is just like fucking.
Yeah, Doom Eternal is kind of like
As soon as it starts, it's
kind of like the second half of 2016 Doom, but from the start.
Yeah.
So like it goes like 0 to 100 like in half a second,
like that.
And that's really the big difference between the two games, and the big reason why I actually really loved Doom Eternal. But yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of 2016 Doom, so I actually wasn't. I mean, I was looking forward to Doom Eternal, but I wasn't all that hyped.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you still enjoyed it, because Doom Eternal. Oh, you know what else is great about it? I really like how they changed up the movement in Eternal. So they use the grappling hooks, or not the grappling hook, the like those bars you can swing from.
Oh yeah,
because they're everywhere. And then you do have the grappling hook on the shotgun.
The movement,
and you're so much more mobile.
Yeah, and it just helps when it comes to like the speed of the game. It's much faster to go around and to actually like kill.
Badass.
Yeah.
Swinging on shit, jumping off walls, hookshotting over there, putting that guy on fire, chainsaw. Yeah.
You just said a series of words, but that is all true.
That's Doom Eternal.
There's not many games that make you feel like more like a badass than Doom Eternal, killing demons and stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy Doom 2016 just because it was my first Doom game in a while.
Oh yeah,
like
I like it.
I hadn't played the other modern Doom game, like Doom 3, which cannot be
Doom 3 is
recognized.
very different.
It's a very different game.
All I did was put on one of the Doom soundtracks from like yesteryear and just run around with constantly on in the background. It's like, oh my god, it's in HD. Oh my god. But no, I can tell. Like, it looks like for Doom Eternal, they took a lot of things and made it more. It made it better. They added their own stamp to it.
Yeah, it's just more Doom, but better.
Because for Doom 2016, you sort of got the impression between all the buildings and everything you go through, they might have been trying to appeal to a more conventional first-person shooter market, which has things like Call of Duty or
that's how they
6.
suck you in.
Yeah, like that. Like if you add the buildings and everything, don't take things too haywire, then normal gamers will be able to know how to work around it and how to play through it and will enjoy it. But for Doom Eternal, they sort of said some sort of Latin demon prayer, and the game just appeared in front of them. So they didn't really seem to care what the hell they did.
And it was good until they released that DLC.
And
Go ahead. I think it's a good segue.
Go
I
on.
agree. So, all right, the DLC is actually overall it's quite good.
Wait, Danny, did you
But
play?
I've-
Have you played the
it?
DLC?
I have not played the DLC yet. No,
Yes.
I'm working through the main story
Same.
as of right now.
Oh.
Same.
But you should play the DLC.
It is
Wait,
on.
you haven't played it either, Flusher?
Nope.
Okay, well, slight spoilers ahead.
That's fine.
That's fine.
So there's only there's only 3 missions in it, but they're all very long. They're very good. Music's good. Most of the encounters are good, but they bring in these new kinds of enemies, and they're shit. So there's what's the first one? Oh, there's the specters or spirits or whatever they're called. They're these just spirit things that possess. They possess other enemies and they make them more powerful, which sounds cool, but the only way to kill a spirit is to kill the thing that it's possessing and then use specifically the one, like, it's called the microwave beam, I think, the one weapon it just stuns demons. It's kind of shit. But it's the only thing that'll kill a spirit. And then there's the blood makers later on that are completely invincible until they do their special attack. And then you can kill them. And there's this other big boss fight that does the same shit. It's just invincible the whole time until it says otherwise. I think that just goes totally against Doom Eternal's fucking
Yeah, so once again, it's
game
like
design.
it's like a question of pacing and the rhythm, kind of.
Well, yeah, there's an aspect of pace. Yeah, no, you're right. Because in Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, you're always in control. You have full agency. You decide who the fuck you're going to kill and when you're going to kill them. And then these new guys come along, they're like, no, you got to kill me with that gun, or it doesn't count. Or you get to kill me when I say I'm vulnerable. And I was like, no, I'm the Doom guy.
Yeah, no, I
I
get
get
that.
to choose when you die.
I get that. It's probably something that would really piss me off too.
It really
actually.
pissed me off because, like, you want to. It just breaks the flow of battle because you're just waiting for these guys to say, "Yeah, it's your turn to fight now." Whereas before, it's like, you're supposed to be in control. You're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
End of rant. So I hope they don't continue that in the next DLC because, apart from that, the DLC was fantastic.
So Kevin hated the DLC.
Yes, terrible. Doom 0 out of 10.
As horrible as it sounds, Kevin,
Yeah.
I'm loving Doom Eternal so far. I can't wait to play the Ancient Gods. I think it's going to be an experience. It just sort of, I know it might seem annoying that you have to change the flow based on an enemy mechanic, but Doom is constantly about changing its flow.
Well, I don't mind having to change the flow. I don't like when the game tells you specifically that there's only one way to get through.
Yeah.
Because like they change up the flow when you have these big encounters where you're like they bring in the pinkies that can only be attacked from behind.
Yeah, which is an absolute ache.
Even at that, you can still stun them with grenades. You can chainsaw them if you have enough fucking fuel. Like they don't just say, "Wait for me to be in this specific state." Like you have agency in how you get behind them, whether you stun them or not, or you just use the superpowered melee thing to kill them. So yeah.
Yeah, whereas the
End
DLC...
of rant part 2.
Yeah, the DLC you just have to wait, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
And that's just not very Doom.
That's not very Doom of them, yeah.
That is so eternally not Doom. But, okay, so Doom Eternal has had its share of controversy in its creation, but I think it just sort of added to the mystique and devil may care attitude of the game.
It's still great, so, you know.
Do you think it should have won the
Game of the Year?
Game of the Year award and the best soundtrack too?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Although I don't really think the Game of the Year awards are all that great, though.
No, it's just,
Possible
would
hot
you
take.
have given it to
But yeah,
them?
if it was me, I probably would have given it to Doom Eternal.
Okay.
What would you have picked?
I think we'll talk about that later, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Maybe. Who knows?
Shall we talk about something other than Doom Eternal for a bit?
Sure.
All right, gentlemen, now it is your turn. Give me a game.
Whose
that you
turn?
play. Either of you guys.
Flusher, you can go.
I was gonna ask you to go because I think you told me that you wanted to talk about Final Fantasy VII, the remake.
Oh yeah, that was so good.
So
mostly.
I think we can have a good
can have
little
a
back and
discussion about
forth.
this.
Yes.
Danny, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake.
This the worst news to come out of 2021 so far. Yes, I full stop have never played a Final Fantasy game.
Okay, well, you just sit quietly in the corner.
This is
I know-
shocking.
I know the stories, and I know the characters, and I know basically everything about, say, how 7 rolls and how 8 went on to perform, even fucking 10, fucking Titus. I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care if you like him.
All right, we're getting off topic.
His mapping is awful. Oh my god.
Just
I
like
know,
the
it's
memes,
not
okay?
Sounds like a. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so Final Fantasy VII Remake. It came out last year.
Yeah,
Or at least
2020.
part of it came out last year.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem.
That is part of the problem. Although I'll be honest, I was wary of it at first. Because for those who don't know, Final Fantasy VII originally came on 3 discs on the PS1. Just because it was so fucking big, but you got a complete game in that package. Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming out in parts, all fully priced. So part 1 has come out, and the story, I think it only takes you up to where, like, a third of the original Final Fantasy VII story.
I don't even think it's a third, honestly.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably
starting
closer to a quarter. Yeah.
So that's kind of shit that you don't get the whole story yet.
And I think it's really part of the problem because to reach that point in the original Final Fantasy VII, how long does it take? Like maybe what?
A couple hours.
Yeah, I'd say like maybe like 10, 15,
Yeah.
maybe if you really take your time. And how long does Remake last? Like what?
Oh god, it was like 40, 50 hours.
Yeah, I don't think it took me that long, but it was pretty fucking long.
Maybe like 30 something. It was quite long anyway.
Yeah.
And then like, how long is it going to be before we get part 2?
Right.
And then will it be in 3 parts or 4 or 5?
It really feels like, I don't know, like you're watching an anime, you're watching Naruto, it's all great, like Sasuke is acting like a little bitch, like always and everything. And then all of a sudden, there's like a random like fucker that comes to the village and he's like, "Hey, I'm the bad guy for now." And you're like, "No shit, I want to see Naruto fucking slap Sasuke. I don't give a shit about you."
Filler arc.
No, it's time for the filler. And that's kind of how Remake felt. It was just 10 hours of actual like original content. I mean,
Yeah,
not
but-
original content from the original, and then like 20 hours of filler
Of
that
other stuff.
I personally didn't give a shit about.
I really enjoyed it though. I thought it was good because, see, like I'm not a huge fan of the original Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, neither am I.
I think it starts off good and it's kind of good in the middle, and then it just sort of it doesn't really work in the end. The writing sort of falls off, and it's all batshit crazy stuff starts happening out of nowhere. It could have been a lot better.
Definitely
And-
could have been.
One thing that I like about the remake is I like how much more time they're spending with each character. And they're really, really fleshing out the world a lot
Yeah,
so that like later moments will become more impactful.
I think the problem is that sometimes they spend too much time on characters that you don't really care about. That's my thing. Like, yes, it's cool to flesh out like Barrett and Tifa and like, because these are the characters that you know and love, and characters are overall like pretty well written and pretty interesting, just overall.
No, they're the main characters.
Yeah, exactly. But when you get to the supporting cast, let's say, I just
Jessie.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot her name already. It's just like she. The only impactful line that she has is when she talks to Cloud about pizza. That's the only thing I can remember of.
Yeah, I think most of her time is spent just trying to fucking get Cloud into bed.
Yeah,
which is kind of funny, but it's not much of a character.
You spend so much time with her.
Yeah, I mean,
but she's not the only.
By the way, it does make her death more impactful because you spent so much time with her.
Yeah, but even I think it was in a Donkey video actually where he made fun of that, where like even the death, it could have been impactful, but they just had to put a joke in it. They just had to be like, Cloud be like, hey, you still owe me money for the pizza,
Oh yeah.
Like, you kind of
couldn't actually just do a serious moment.
You're kind of dying, but I don't know, it's kind of tight. Yeah.
But I thought about this funny joke, and when am I going to get to use it again?
That's kind of the thing. It felt short for me. At really a lot of
what did you think
occasions.
of the ending?
I don't know.
Danny, do you know about Final Fantasy VII Remake's ending?
Tell me. Regale me.
Okay. All right, so Final Fantasy...
Spoilers, by the way.
Spoilers for certain. The original Final Fantasy VII, they're in this big town city called Midgar, and then they leave.
Yes.
And that takes about 10 hours, so the remake ends whenever they leave Midgar. Except instead of leaving to go chase Sephiroth around the world, Aerith, who in the original dies, she hints that she knows that's going to happen because something about there are time ghosts that come from another timeline. And Aerith is the only one that can interact with them, really, so she knows that there's some bad shit about to go down. And she works with them to open some sort of big time vortex that puts them into another timeline, I think. Or I think they want to go back to stop Sephiroth becoming evil. And then it ends with like a scene of Cloud and this other guy, Zack, who is like a person from Cloud's past. They're walking away, so the main guys are now in this other timeline where another Cloud also exists, maybe. The point is, they've introduced time travel into the series.
I think so the biggest thing I got out of this is that... So Final Fantasy VII, the one thing that made, I think, the game so impactful for a lot of people is that you have one of the main characters die at like a third or like a fourth of the game. And you can't really expect it, except if you know except if you know it's going to happen. But
very rare for games to kill main characters.
Yes, and especially because you can put her in your team and on your starting lineup.
Yeah, she's played with Aerith for quite some time before she dies,
and she's like a healer and stuff. So she's very
pretty good.
She's very useful, and when she dies, it's like she's gone. Like all you put into her, like all the experience points that went through leveling her up and everything, it's all gone. And so, if you kind of
an impactful death,
yes, exactly,
it literally impacts you because you did put time and effort into it.
Exactly, it's not just a story-wise twist; it's also impactful when it comes to the gameplay.
So I'm intrigued to see how they're gonna deal with that in the remake
But the thing is that I'm not the biggest fan of Final Fantasy VII, but I've played it like a couple times. The first time I played it with Aerith, but the other times I was like, she's gonna die anyway.
Yeah,
why should I bother? And her death is like way less impactful in that case. You know, obviously,
because you know what's happening, and then you end up not putting any time or effort into Aerith.
Exactly. So you don't have that kind of emotional
you just sort of
connection.
You act as if she's dead as soon as you meet her.
Exactly. So I think the way they are, like, I don't know what's going to happen with her. I don't know if they're just going to be like, you know, well, after all, she's not dead. She won't die in this one, you know.
Yeah.
Or if she's gonna die anyway. But I think they just wanted to be like, you know what? You don't know what's gonna happen. You kind of left like in the same feeling that you had when you played the original. You don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe she's gonna die. Maybe she's not gonna die. You don't know.
Which I think is kind of a good thing, because
I think too, but
I
don't know if they went. I don't know if they did the right thing. You know?
I guess we won't know until we play part 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Maybe in this timeline, Phoenix Downs don't help and actually kill her even more.
She's double dead. For realties. No takebacks.
Seth Ross looks at you and says, "Why would you do that? Phoenix Downs are so much more deadly now." Oh my god. I only grazed her. You killed her, Cloud.
That was your fault. It wasn't me. I'm not the bad guy.
Or
the timeline.
The tension finally erupts between Tifa and Aerith, and she just straight up kills her. He's mine!
Mine, you bitch.
Or Barrett accidentally squeezes a trigger and blows her head off. I don't know. I mean, these versions of Final Fantasy are what I want to see.
I mean, Barrett is the only romance option, like the valid one.
But I thought it was really good. I even thought the gameplay was good. I know a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah, I just kind of didn't really like it. It didn't tick with me. Like nothing in the game really spoke to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I liked it. I mean, I think once you get used to the fact that the other two characters in your party don't do anything unless you're controlling them.
True. But
like once you get past that, then it's good. It can be frustrating at times when you're expecting them to heal you and they're just dicking around.
Visually, it's fucking great.
Oh yeah,
it fucking slaps. The music is amazing, but like that's no surprise. But I kind of feel like the rest was like, I don't know, it felt short to me.
You know, yeah, I can't remember. Did they put in the Muscle Man massage scene?
It was more than a. They don't have that specific scene where Cloud's in the hot tub with them, but they do have the whole chapter. Like it's far longer. That whole chapter.
Yeah, I remember him getting all dressed up.
Yeah, and you still have to do that.
Oh yeah,
and you still get to see fucking Don Corneo's sex dungeon.
Still the best part of the game.
Oh yeah, it is. And
is that the sex dungeon that has a boss in it? What is that after he releases the trapdoor?
Oh yeah.
I like to think they think that's the sex dungeon down there.
So are you looking forward to part 2?
I am not. I mean, I am kind of, because I want to know.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah. How they're going to shape it all up, you know. But what's going to happen? But I don't. I don't really care anymore. I mean, I wasn't all that hyped from it. Like, I never was. I never was very hyped by the idea of having a remake of Final Fantasy VII. It was never something.
Final Fantasy IX instead.
Yeah, because it's your favorite, right?
Yeah, obviously.
I want there to be a remake of Final Fantasy X, and it's just 35 hours of him laughing.
I'm sure you're gonna say 35 hours of Titus just getting bitch slapped by his dad. Shit, Titus.
But
You suck.
let's
My
not
name's Titus, Dad. No, it's not.
talk too much about 10 because it's going to piss me off real quick.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, it pissed me off right quick whenever I watched it. Essentially, I love watching Final Fantasy for the story, but
Except for 10.
oh my god,
Maybe 8.
I mean, 10 for me the best part in 10 is the water polo minigame.
Oh, Blitzball.
Oh yeah, man! Holy shit, that thing slaps. But
I fucking suck at Blitzball, but I loved watching it.
apart from
Anytime where Blitzball is in a cutscene, yes.
why can't players in Blitzball not go above and below? Why is it on a perfect horizontal field within a circular ball of water?
Just because it's in a sphere and in a 3D world doesn't mean that you can just move in 3 whole dimensions. Right?
Yeah, think before you speak next time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll learn more, I suppose.
But no, you're right. Blitzball would have been far more interesting if they could actually move around. And then you could have like 4 teams, like golds at the top and bottom, golds on the left, right. You could have the golds move around the sphere. Oh,
you know what I'd love? I'd love to see the referees come together to explain the rules of Blitzball. Just because to see what the hell. Because remember there was that cinematic scene where like Tortillas jumps up out of the water. And
oh yeah,
like he flies out of the water and does a whole super epic
kick, backflip and stuff.
And kicks the ball while he's out of the water. I'd love for like the next scene the referee blows an underwater whistle and like no,
that's goaltending. That's goaltending.
Out of the sphere. That's a yellow.
It was offside.
That's 1 water card. Now, if you get 3 water cards, you're given a bag. Okay, don't make me give you the bag.
3 water cards, and we cut off your air supply.
Fuck this game, man. Holy shit.
What was your favorite part of Final Fantasy X, Flusher? Was it where you found out at the end that Sin wasn't the big bad and he just had a tick?
No, it was the end credits.
Oh,
I'm surprised you made it that far.
The worst part about 10 was 10-2, but anyway.
10-2 is fantastic if you don't think of it as anything actually good. If you boot up 10-2 and you just want to have a good time and not play a good game, you'll have a good time. It's so fucking stupid. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon spin-off of Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, putting it like that, yeah.
It's like, what if totally
kind of made me want to replay it now.
It's like what if Totally Spies and the Powerpuff Girls met Final Fantasy.
It's fun. It has an interesting battle system too. The whole sphere grid. You can equip different abilities from different sphere grids onto yours, and job switching in real time.
So
it's good shit.
So what you're saying is one of the best games out of 2020 was Final Fantasy X-2?
Yes. Final Fantasy. The best one.
By far.
So, okay, I think we got a bit off topic there. But the Final Fantasy VII verdict, I suppose.
Had a good remake.
Yeah, good remake. Top notch so far. It's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying that you have to wait for multiple parts, but
yeah, it's better than Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
So I think I've
shining praise right there.
Yeah, I think that's. I can say more than that.
Better than Final Fantasy out of 10. There you go.
It's not
that's me,
13.
and that is Dear Flusher. Kevin, it is your turn.
Oh yeah,
10-2 doesn't count. 10-2 does not count as an entry. You need to pick something else.
All right. Well, I mean, I played a really good game that I don't think anyone else played called Sakuna of Rice and Ruin.
You're right. I've never played
Indeed.
that.
Hey, it's really
Tell me.
fucking good. You play as this little girl. She's like she's a god into Japan, and she's kind of a bitch. All she does is drink and just slap people all the time.
Nice,
But-
nice.
That sounds cool. Yeah.
But for reasons that I can't quite remember, she sets like they have this big god of gods, and they're having like this big tribute ceremony where they all give her shitloads of rice. Sakuna accidentally sets all the rice on fire, so she gets banished to this island full of demons.
Because the god of gods like, I don't like fried rice. What the hell are you doing, Saginaw?
Well, she
Get the
doesn't
fuck
like
out of here.
She doesn't like burnt rice.
Yeah.
No one likes burnt rice. Yeah, and she's like, go and clear that shit up, the demons, or else. And then there's some humans that get involved, and somehow they've crossed over from Earth into this holy realm. And yeah, it's really good. So it has this system where you have to grow rice.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. Like you plant the rice yourself, and then you, when you're not planting rice and pulling weeds, you go out and you like do dungeon crawls and stuff to get loot, and then you gotta come like there's 4 seasons. You plant rice in spring, then you come back in summer. You gotta like measure the water levels and the fertilizer and
Are you sure?
pesticide. Hang on, I'm getting there. And then in autumn you harvest it, and then you dry it, and then you fucking send that shit off to the gods. And then depending on how good the rice was, it puts like your stats up. So it's got like, attack, defense, speed, whatever else. And then depending on what ways you grow the rice, you fucking grow a shitload of rice that's low quality, or a little bit of rice with good quality. You get different stats. You learn different moves to use in battle. And then you can go on more dungeon crawls. And every level in the overworld has little objectives for you to do, and you do more of those, and it unlocks more levels. And also there's a really good story.
About rice.
Well, not just about rice. You learn all about the humans that are with you, because you take them to the island. They all have to do their penance.
Is the penance farming your rice? Because this sounds like
Yes.
a good way to trick people.
But see, that's kind of how it starts. Sakuna's all, you motherfuckers do all the work. But you see, her parents her dad was like a warrior god, and her mom was a harvest goddess. So that's why she gets more fucking power from growing stuff. So they all learn, they'll come together to grow fuckloads of rice. And then you learn about each of their backstories and how they all met. It's really good.
I'm just imagining how that would play out. You want to play a game, humans? Yeah, I would love a game. You pick up that rice, you pick up that bag right over there. Okay, now what do we do? Put it on the cart. Do it again.
Yeah.
Keep doing it. Never stop.
It's kind of like a mix of Harvest Moon and an action RPG, because you do have to grow the rice. You have to plant it yourself, like fucking grain by grain.
I can see farmers up and down Japan exploiting backpackers with this very same notion.
Here's a fun fact: the Japanese government's like agriculture website got fucking inundated. It has the most views it's ever had when Sakuna came out, because the game was quite popular in Japan, and so loads of people were looking up how to grow the best rice, because it has a really in-depth system. Like it measures like the temperature of the air, when in the spring or summer you plant or harvest, and
It's kind of cool.
like it's very cool.
So
It's
I
just
knew
a great
nothing
game.
about this game before you started talking about it, but I went to the Steam page and someone left this review, and now I'm sold.
Yep. You know what? Waifu indeed.
Yeah, so I put that on the screen. I'll put that on the screen for the podcast.
okay.
No worries, but yeah. So it's basically a review that says waifu, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it's like
now
a
I'm sold.
bad
I'm sold.
waifu.
So I think I kind of have to play it now.
Yes, you do. You should. It's actually really, really good. It's a very good combat. It has a very good story. There's a lot of customization options. The whole growing and harvesting rice thing sounds tedious, but it feels good when it pays off and you grow some fucking fantastic rice.
But now that I think about it, it says waifu, but it looks like the main character is kind of young, so I don't know if I really should.
She's a god, so it's kind of.
Oh, it's fine then. Okay, let's go.
It's anime rules in Japan. She's like 7 million years old.
Okay, so that's good. That's good.
Yeah, so it's legal, no worry.
In Japan, the female's eyes get bigger and bigger, and the pupils wider and wider when they age. Because if you see the picture of this young girl god, her eyes are bigger than her face.
That's anime for you.
Oh my god! You know what I wonder? You never see characters with eyes like that wear glasses. I want to see that. Or if they do wear the glasses are always too small.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I do some research.
Okay,
so I have a suggestion for the next game to talk about. Since we're talking about Japan and anime waifus, why not talk about Ghost of Tsushima?
Oh, I heard that game was great.
Yeah, go on.
So,
are there any waifus in that?
Not really, but you know, it's still
Shit
based in Japan.
0 out of 10.
So have you not played it?
No, I nearly did once, but then I didn't. That's my story. I was very hyped up for it.
So it's basically, well, I think when we'll talk about like the old generation, you know, the PlayStation 4 and everything, we might come back to that. But I think it was a good game, like a pretty good game, a pretty solid one. But it felt
not great.
It felt like, I don't know. It might be a bit not really nice to say it, but it felt like a Ubisoft game in some ways.
See, no, this is kind of what put me off playing it.
But
kind of put me off playing open world games in general recently.
Yeah, fair enough. But you know, everything that's not related to like the gameplay is amazing. It's amazing. It's kind of like
game's great if you don't play it.
Exactly. It's like it's a better game to watch than to play, in my opinion. Exactly like Red Dead Redemption 2, for example.
Oh, I think. Well, yeah.
It's quite not in the same like level of extremes. I would say.
I have my own problems with Red Dead Redemption 2,
where like everything is great, and then the game design is like something that you would expect for like GTA 3, not, you know, a 2018 game. And
yeah, see, I saw a lot of people praising the whole doesn't it have this feature where like the wind guides you to where you're supposed to go, and like you can run around and there are foxes or something, or birds that show you the secrets.
There's a lot of very cool features. The gameplay, I'm very harsh. The gameplay is cool. The gameplay is fun. It's fun to play. It's just not. It could have been better. There's another game that was released this year. It's not in the same genre, but I think Sekiro could have not be inspired by it. But like,
did Sekiro come out this year?
Not Sekiro. My bad. Ghost of Tsushima could have.
Oh yeah, okay.
Taken some ideas from it. I mean, not from this one obviously because it was the same year, but Neo 2 came out this year,
shit.
And Neo 2 is fucking great. So obviously it's not the same genre. Like one is an action adventure, like open world, and the other one is Souls-like. But as far as like the fighting mechanics go, like most of the things that Neo 2 does, you could have applied it to Ghost of Tsushima, in my opinion, and it would have been so much better. So much better.
Nothing worse than when a game is good, but is like clearly not the best it could have been.
Oh, we'll get back to that later. Oh, my friend, holy shit! But yeah,
I'm intrigued.
It's a very good game, and I think it's one of the best PlayStation 4 exclusives. But unfortunately, that's not saying a lot.
Is it as good as Bloodborne?
It's not.
See, there hasn't really been a PlayStation exclusive as good as Bloodborne since Bloodborne came out.
Yeah, you're kind of right. You're kind of right.
I would have said God of War, but
Oh,
Yeah.
that game wasn't that good.
Oh God, no! Why did you make me hate you immediately? Oh, God of War's amazing. He has a beard.
No, it's not.
I'm-
It's kind of okay. And
Oh.
then
I think it's a solid 6 out of 10.
yeah, I'm looking at that one. It's a
Kevin.
beautiful game.
You are relegated to boy status. That's what you're on a God of War scale. You are.
Fucking answer me this, right? Apparently, all the stuff that you can climb, in the game where you climb on ledges and shit, and it's all got fucking paint on it. Apparently, Kratos' wife did all that, but sometimes they go off the beaten path and they just fall down holes and shit. And then what was she like? Oh, I know that Kratos, he's gonna fall down this hole. I better paint some lines for him.
What a fucking stupid cunt.
Did you not think that maybe she fell down the holes and scrambled to find her way out?
Shoes. No.
No.
Is that really your biggest, like, the
No,
biggest
it's just
thing you
I
have
can't
to
really
say
remember.
about?
I don't remember the rest of it.
Okay.
I mean that's kind of my biggest complaint is that I don't remember much about it. I remember being really, really annoyed by the Dark Elves.
I think we
Don't
can
remember what that had to do with the story at all.
I think we can come back to God of War later. I think I have a few things to say about it too, but
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. So Ghost of Tsushima, pretty good. Putting the filter, like the black and white filter, to really have the feel like you're playing
movie mode.
Yeah, and you're in the Kurosawa film. It feels so fucking great. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It should have been. It should have been. It could have been better. It could have been like absolutely grand, and it's not. It's just very, very good. It would have still been a much better candidate for Game of the Year award than Last of Us 2. But
You know what else is a game that could have been better than it was? Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh,
yes.
Get that low-hanging fruit, Kevin. Pick up the low-hanging fruit as quickly as you can.
I'm a small man.
So yes, the Cyberpunk. God Almighty!
So
I have
CD Projekt
so much
Red
so
are
much
being
to say
sued
about it.
again.
Oh, they're being sued again?
They're facing their second class action lawsuit. This time from the private investors of CD Projekt.
Oh God!
Because it came out the week before last that the E3 demo from last year, I think, was 100% fake.
No, it was a 2018 one.
Oh,
I think
that one was super fake, and
But
it
was super fake, but almost everything in the demo actually is in the game. That's actually probably the one trailer that is the most like true to life amongst all of them.
The investors who were suing are suing on the grounds that they were misled, that they were told, yeah, this game that you poured all your money into is coming out this year. You'll make your money back in no time.
I think
Rock on 3 years later.
I don't know. These they piss me off. They really do. I mean, you could bet a decent amount of money on the fact that, like, if the game was rushed out, it was probably in some good parts because of the investors, right? I think it's a fair assumption.
You're probably right.
So
they want to get their money back.
Especially because there's a lot of things wrong with the game, like lots of them. And obviously, the state it was released on PS4 and Xbox One is not
terrible. It's
not
unplayable.
It's not acceptable. Even though like
frame rate dips into the 20s and less.
Even though like not everyone like it's actually weird because I have friends who played it on PS4 and who had like a decent experience. Like they had no severe drop frames and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird the way it actually works.
I mean, I guess that's just kind of like everyone always said that fucking Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls games were mad buggy, but I guess
it depends on your experience. Yeah, depends for sure. But except from that, like, yes, the game on PC and on next gen is buggy, but it's as far as like technical issues go, I went through the entire game. I played like 100 hours. Cyberpunk, and I haven't had like any game-breaking bug. Like,
did you? I'm going to assume you enjoyed your time.
I did. I think Cyberpunk is a really good game. I think it's a really good game with a lot of potential that could have been an absolute fucking masterpiece. And that's the problem. I think it's absolutely not comparable to the No Man's Sky situation, where the game was absolutely broken and absolutely terrible at release. I think it's a good game. I think Cyberpunk is a good game, but there's just something that, you know,
it's just not ready.
It's not even that. I'm afraid that even if it was released, like, if it had been released like in a year or like in 2 years, that there would have been issues, like, because it looks like design-wise, there's some things that just don't work out as they should. It's kind of a weird one because it's really a mix between a Deus Ex, even without talking about the universe and stuff, with a Deus Ex and Found New Vegas kind of, you know, or a Found game overall. And
oh my god. Sorry, we should have seen this sort of thing coming, because I'm just reading up about, do you know the seizure incident that this game had before release?
I don't know. No.
What?
So, Linda Rupert, a journalist for Game Informer, sort of reviewed the game days before it was released. There was a sequence in the game called the Brain Dance.
Oh, yes, I did read about this.
Which contains red and white, like the lights flash. Is there like, I think, is it like a club scene?
Yeah,
or
I think so.
something?
No, you put the characters like put on a headset of some kind, or they jack in.
And nobody told dear Liana that, who then had a seizure because she had photosensitive epilepsy.
But the worst thing is that
I don't really want to sound like an ass, but there's like warning on games, like when you launch the game on literally every single game, that people with epileptic
that's kind of the problem though, because what happened in Cyberpunk is that part, like the flashing light pattern, was based on like a real medical thing that they used to induce seizures in people to see, like, to test.
Okay.
To test their like sensitivity to flashy lights. So there really should have been like a warning before that scene to say, look, this literally puts people into seizures.
After this, the company then released a patch to add a warning. The warning wasn't even there beforehand.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's just someone just not doing enough research.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay, that sounds kind of bad. So like that way, it's pretty fucking bad.
So I don't know if we should have seen this nightmare coming.
But once again, the game has so many redeemable qualities. Like, writing wise, it's very good. I don't know if it's up to par with The Witcher 3, but to be fair, it's the one thing that you would expect CD Projekt to deliver.
Yeah, they're very good at writing.
The writing, the quest design, all absolutely great. There's one thing, the way quests are like given to you, I'm not that big of a fan. Like the fact that you just have to go to like a point of interest and they give you a call and they're like, hey V, what's up my man, how about you go kill that guy, and you're like, yeah, shit, yeah. I mean, the quest is well written, but the way you go on about getting them is not
kind of unnatural.
Yeah, it feels kind of janky. I think it would have been much better to just like, okay, they call you. It's the future, so they have cell phones. So they call you. You go to the place. You go meet the fixer, and he's like, "Hey, I have this mission. You know, you can partake in killing this dude whenever you want. But you know, then you go on, and you go meet whatever."
Yeah, that would have made sense.
I don't know about you guys, but every time I go to the beach, I am inundated with calls for murder.
You see that guy over there? Yeah, I don't like him.
Yeah, the writing, the quest design, great. I think the level design overall, the open world is pretty fucking good. It's very fucking immersive.
See, now this makes me want to play it, but I don't want to play it until it gets fucking patched and finished.
Because you haven't played it?
No.
Oh, it's honestly, there's so many good things about this game.
But see, I know it's going to get updated, and
that's
more shit's
also
gonna
the
be
thing.
added
That's
to it.
also the thing. I think like I hope that in like 2 years it's going to be like you'll have all the free DLCs, you have the extensions that hopefully will be
edition.
Yeah, hopefully will be as good if not better than the game. Kind of for The Witcher 3, where Blood and Wine is basically better than the base game. And with the mods, I think the mods are going to give like the game just another dimension.
Yeah.
But
So,
there's this thing is that it does a lot of things, but there's nothing it does that is bad. It does nothing like inherently wrong except like technical issues and stuff like that.
yeah.
But still once again, I've played through the entire game without seeing a single like game-breaking bug. Like sometimes there's a few bugs that are like, nah, it's kind of annoying, but it's fine. But
I mean, I guess
most of the bugs are kind of
like,
similar to like, you know, the OG Skyrim bug where the giant just slams the ground and you go flying into orbit.
I didn't even realize that was a bug the first time.
Most of the bugs are like that. Like there's a bug where you basically if you jump on a fence and start running on the fence, you gain momentum, like a shit ton of momentum, and then you can fucking bunny hop through the entire city at like 200 miles per hour. And it's absolutely
speedrunner's dream.
Exactly, it's going to be so fucking cool to watch speedruns from this game, and that's something I hope they never fix because it's so cool. But it, I mean, obviously wasn't intended because I'm not sure like cybernetics are that advanced in 2077. But yeah, it's technically there are issues, but the game in itself, it does a lot of things, nothing wrong, but nothing great.
That's
a shame.
As you mentioned before, the game has incredible potential to be something more. As of 20th December last year, the game has sold 13 million copies. Now, that's 13 million.
They're doing well.
Even after it was taken away from the PlayStation Store.
Damn.
I think
that's incredible.
I think it's a game that it's still a good game. It's still, honestly, I think it's still one of the better games that came out this year. Even with everything,
it
I mean,
has a bad reputation.
Yeah, I mean, except if you're like playing on PlayStation 4, obviously, like then you kind of in a shithole because it kind of sucks. But if you're playing on PC or on next gen and you're playing in decent conditions and you're lucky enough to not encounter any game-breaking bugs, then you're most likely gonna have like a good time. It just could have been so much more. It's so sad. It's so sad.
I know, but it'll be better once they patch it.
And to be fair, it's like, you know, nowadays, again, when a game is going to be released and I get somewhat hyped for a game, I always get into the state of mind that I expect the game to entertain me the way Fallout 4 entertained me when it was released. So basically, I expect the game to be not great, but
enjoyable.
To be fun for like 50 to 60 hours, if it's that kind of game that would last that long. You know, for like 50 hours, I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna have fun.
Yeah, you just don't expect it to blow you away.
Yes, and I think a lot of people had their, you know, expectations really way too high for this game. And I think it was mostly people who like played The Witcher 3 and just expected the game to be
The Witcher 3, but
The Witcher 3, but The Witcher 3, but with cars, you know, The Witcher 3, but with a crossover for like GTA, something like that. A lot of people were like drawing comparison between GTA and Cyberpunk, which you shouldn't do because these games have nothing in common, like absolutely nothing in common. If anything, you could draw comparison with like Fallout or Deus Ex once again. But that's it. That's about it. And Cyberpunk has more in common with Skyrim than it has with any kind of GTA.
Yeah, it's more of an open world RPG rather than
It's really dead.
Fucking life sim. I have a question.
Yeah.
We've been talking for just over an hour now. Do you want to call this part 1? We can do part 2 separately.
Part 1.
Part 1
done.
In the bag.
All right.
That was the end of part 1. I hope you enjoyed it. Join us again for part 2, where we'll talk about PS5.
Bye.